I justifying his death? No, not at all. But what I'm saying is they take a small clip, they create a narrative, the nation gets set on fucking fire, and then they blame it on Trump. That's always how it goes. They say this is Trump's America. No, it's not Trump's America because you fucking organize these what you call protests but are riots. You're funding these people that are coming into buses, which I've seen here in Austin, bus loads of people coming in that we don't fucking know them. You're not from here. Where are you coming from? They're coming into Austin. They're going into DC, California, Florida, all over the fucking nation. And a couple of weeks ago, they fucking found a Black Lives Matter group waiting at an airport, and they were greeting a Chinese fucking general. And they still want to tell me that the Black Lives Matter group is not a communist fucking group. It's crazy. Like, people need to wake the fuck up and realize that things are not like, colorful fucking rainbows of like, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter, they care about black people. No, they don't. They don't care about you. I'm sorry, that was a long rant, but it's just...
No, it's just like, when it comes to that type of topic in general, there's not really much for me to be able to comment on just because, like, there's just so much I feel like I still don't know.
Yeah.
Like, see, like, the founder of BLM, like, that overall, that was complete news to me right now.
Yeah, well, that's not because you're ignorant or negligent. It's because they're not reporting it. You have to Google it to find it. It's on there. Like, you'll see it on CNN and Fox, but you're not going to see the article pop up on your timeline, and you're not going to see it on the 5 o'clock news.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened. He got arrested for soliciting a minor for prostitution. And it's irritating because the same people that are saying, all white people are racist are going out and attacking random white people, beating them halfway to death and saying, fuck white people, Black Lives Matter. That's not how you bring justice and change. How are you going to talk to the other side and tell them you're being unjust and unfair while beating them halfway to death? They're not going to want to fucking talk to you or cooperate with you. They're going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
I mean, that's understandable. I think it's just I'm not saying, like, justifying people who are using violence and whatnot, but, like, people, like, in general, I've seen it so far on social media that they're just saying that, like, a lot of them are just fed up because, like, they've tried to put peace into it, and whether there's peace or violence, no matter what, they just feel like the people who refuse to hear are not going to hear no matter what. So they kind of just feel like, what's the point of being peaceful?
Well, because they're not doing it the right way. Vote out the people that have been sitting in your city council for the past 30 years. Vote them out. But you notice that Black Lives Matter never tells you go vote. They never say, hey, your vote counts. Voting is real. Go vote these people out. They don't tell you that. They tell you go into the streets and ACAB. All cops are bastards. And that's it. How is that? That's not progressive. That's caveman mentality. But yeah, I wanted to transition over to something that I experienced that molded me into a better person last summer was spending time in Tennessee. And I just wanted to make the conversation about things that we've gone through maybe in the past year or two that have molded us into better individuals, or at least made us aware of the progress that we need to make to get to where we want to be.
Okay.
Franklin? Yeah, now I can.
Wait, you hear me good now?
It breaks up a little bit. Keep talking. This thing is hitting mute. Talk, this is your part. I want you to segue us into Tennessee. Hello?
Damn.
Hold on. How about now? Can you hear me now? I'm in the basement, by the way.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, cool.
All right, so
What was that you said?
I said that I want to segue us in a conversation about change we went through in the last year or two, or something that made us mature or look at life differently and bring us a whole brand new perspective, whether it be good or bad. And I wanted to have you segue the conversation and touch on the experience in Tennessee.
Okay, well, to start that off, we lived with Mormons for 3 months, so that was very interesting. But it all started with, like an opportunity that was presented to us, like, hey, you guys, it was sold to us, so we were expecting other things, but,
Wait, get closer to the phone. Sorry to interrupt you. Get closer to your phone, or to your speaker at least.
Hold on.
I mean your mic.
Now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so we lived with Mormons for 3 months, and, we walked about 3 miles or more a day. And, overall, like, I think both of us, leaving our comfort zone and, going to a place we had no idea we were going to, because it was up in the air, like, oh, we're going to St. Louis, we're going to Texas, we're going here. And we wound up in Nashville, Tennessee. And, it was pretty much a big wormhole into struggling for months and just, developing a real strong bond through struggling together and understanding more about each other, being uncomfortable. So tell us about your experience, Coffee Man.
I think the being uncomfortable part is especially what made me become a better person, because when you're comfortable for such a long time, you become comfortable with not making progress and just being who you are. And I mean, you end up saying in a conversation, I am who I am. I'm not going to change, like, accept me or you don't. But out there in Nashville, Tennessee, there was no room for that, because there was no comfort zone. You had to wear a uniform you wouldn't be caught dead wearing in the daylight back home. Tucked in shirt, khaki shorts, black shoes, and then you had to recite this sales pitch in front of these Mormons. You don't know these people. I mean, from what you've heard as a child, is they're fucking weird. And most rumors are true, they are weird. Some of them are really nice, but a lot of them are weird. And you recite the sales pitch over and over in front of people. Some people have nailed it, so you're a little embarrassed because these people are way better than you at it, and some people are worse than you, so you feel like you're kind of on the middle ground. And then you go out from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., I believe, with a 30-minute lunch break, and you're walking 3 to 4 miles. I think sometimes even more. It depends on how big it depends how big the you know what? I think we're underselling it, bro, because 1 mile at the school takes about 15 minutes if you're running and jogging. So the walking in the neighborhoods, like, cause
we walked way fucking more.
Yeah, I'd say 6 to 7 a day, 6 to 7 miles a day. And the worst part is if you walk that amount of distance and you didn't sell. Those were the worst fucking days, because it was all commission. So you knew that every word that came out of your mouth with the next person that opened the door, every single word had to count. It had to have enthusiasm. It had to be convincing. And it had to reel the person into becoming a customer. And when you just had days where everyone either shuts the door in your face, tells you to get the fuck out of their lawn, doesn't answer the door, but you clearly see them peek in the windows, those days were demoralizing. But after a couple of weeks of that, you start building character, It's like, it becomes nothing. It's secondhand nature to get rejected. And I think that's a wake-up call that I needed. I needed to experience when people don't want to hear what I have to say, and when people don't like me. I mean, I had people out there saying, we don't want your kind around here. I had a guy threaten to kill me. Yeah, I had a guy threaten to kill me. He pulled up on me in his pickup truck. He's like, we don't want your kind around here. Obviously because of this color of my skin. And the cops came and they were looking for him, and but I mean, I wasn't shook, but that's just something I experienced in the South. There were some neighborhoods you get sent in, and you're like, yeah, I don't think I should be here. Well, I'm saying me personally because of the color of my skin. I'm like, yeah, I don't fuck. I feel like I'm in goddamn Dixie. Um, but
Bro, I don't know how African dudes did it.
huh?
I don't know how the African guys did it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There was this team of African guys who came from Africa, and they were like dark as night, like black, like black, like Nubian black, and they were out there like selling. Some of them were selling, some of them were tanking, some of them were make like us. They make a sale every 3 days, which was bad. But yeah, Franklin does have a point. I don't know how they were doing it because there were some really racist people out there. It's like black or white. Like they either lovely and nice and they have the southern hospitality. They offer you something to drink, or they say, "Hey, I'm not interested." You know, and they're polite, or they just don't fucking like you. They don't want you on their porch. They're racist. Like there's kind of like no in between. But yeah, it was it was a crazy experience having sleep for dinner sometimes because your entire check was based on commission.
And pieces of bread for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward was cooking a roly-poly on the pan? That's how we felt when we go to the other apartment because they're eating like SpongeBob and Patrick, having waffles and eggs and all this shit for breakfast while we're just sitting there smelling the wonderful aroma of what they're having.
Yeah.
Not getting off the bed because we just had water and a slice of bread.
Yeah.
We're not even exaggerating.
Yeah, we're not exaggerating. We would ask the magic conch for help and it would say no every time. But I feel like that built character enough because it's like, all right, this is our situation. This is what we're gonna do. We would literally go grocery shopping like a family would, and pennies to buy food, and literally debate. Damn, should we get these cookies? Nope, and we put them back.
Yeah.
It was that type of shit.
We would count the exact amount of money for the bread, the bananas, the water, like the most simplest shit. While we'd go to the other apartment because that's where we had our morning meetings, and they had fucking stacks of waffles, pancakes, granola, yogurt, fruit, smoothies, and they never offered us. That's another thing about religious people in general is that like you expect more out of them because they're like Bible thumpers, but they're the same, maybe even sometimes even worse than regular people.
They would, but the fucked up thing was, and you know what? It's not fucked up because it's just how it is, but they would cook for the elders every Sunday, but not offer a regular person breakfast or, hey, you want something to drink or anything like that. It was never like that.
Yeah, being treated like a human being was a privilege. You had to be Mormon or in the process of becoming Mormon. But I wanted to ask you, Mev, did you have an experience maybe in the past year or two that you feel like was like kind of like something like to snap out of it or like to help you in growth or to put you on the right path?
Ooh, yes, but
you don't have to get too. You don't have to get too personal.
I mean, yeah, even just the surface story actually is pretty personal.
You said just the surface story?
Like, just the surface of it. Like, even if I didn't get deep with it, it's pretty personal.
Is there something
you learned?
Oh, yeah, what did you learn? Instead of telling the story, then what did you learn at least?
No, I mean, it did teach me to get out of, like, the bad habit of being so stubborn, like what I've always been for so many years and whatnot. I've always been the kind of person that I can get myself into bad situations and it just wouldn't click. Like, I wouldn't feel like there's nothing that I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I would constantly feel like as if, I don't know, like I always felt like as if I had control of everything that I go through, that if some type of misfortune happens, that it's out of my hands, and then like, oh, well, it's not my fault, or I could control it next time, or I have no problem that I have to actually fix. But the situation that I did go through this past year, it actually did finally get to me, because it wasn't just affecting me, but it was affecting the people that I love, and like the people that I really care about, and that have been, doing nothing but constantly show their concerns for me. So once I felt like I was starting to, I guess, get the consequences that I deserve, it finally like piled up, and it finally went through to me that I really needed to change my behavior and like my stubbornness. So I'm pretty much finally out of that, and there's a lot of things that I'm trying to work on in general.
Well, that's good. I feel like acknowledgement of things you need to work on is very important. I feel like people aren't motivated by the fact that they acknowledge things. They only get motivated once they see the change, and I think that you should be motivated at every step of the way, because that's what keeps you going, is the small things. Just acknowledging like, hey, this is a problem, that's a really big step, because there's a lot of people that live in denial and they won't acknowledge the problem. They're like, oh, that's just how I am, or that's just how things are. There's no problem. Like, if you have a problem with it, then you can see your way out of my life.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's people around me that just wanted the best for me and whatnot, and it's like I was very aware of the problems that would happen, but I would just tell them, okay, yeah, I see the problem, just to get them off my back.
Yeah.
And that was it. But now it's like I actually, am sitting down, and I am not just aware of what I've done, but like I'm accepting it, and I actually want to do something about it.
That's really good. What would you say you took away from Tennessee, Franklin? Like, what was the one or two things that you took away from Tennessee the most?
I have to say patience. Patience, and just like taking rejection. To be honest, like I'm gonna touch on that because like you said, getting told no all day long, it kind of conditions you for other things. And I would recommend anybody to go out there and do a sales job like that, because not only is could you potentially make money, because you could make money, but it does a lot for you mentally. Like, I feel like now not a lot of things faze me. Like, now if I I'm driving and my car takes a shit and I'm like, oh fuck, but then I'm like, all right, whatever, and I just push through it. Like, before I would probably freak out or get angry, but now I just kind of like chuckle it off and like, all right, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Like, because I figured out when we were out there, like, when it was time to struggle, there really wasn't anything to do about it. You could do about it, and getting mad would just make it worse.
Yeah.
So I'd say patience for sure. I've become a lot more patient, and having to deal with a variety of different personalities and people, just taught me to be more of a people person as well. Because I'm an introvert, so in school some people didn't even know I could talk because I was so quiet. But talking to people every day really helped me out. So I'd say that was my big takeaway. It just made me a better person overall. Kind of rounded out to the edges.
Yeah, I would say I took away patience as well from that experience. Because if you don't have patience, you're not going to be there for you're not going to last. You're going to be out in the first 1 or 2 weeks. Some people that went, did end up leaving. And this is no shade to them. To say, oh, his job is not for everybody. There is people who just don't perform high in that, that field.
Especially from Brooklyn.
Huh?
Especially if you're from Brooklyn.
But yeah, I took away patience, because you got to be patient with people. slamming the door in your face. I mean, think about it. It's like 95 degrees or 99 degrees in fucking Nashville, Tennessee. You've got these, you know, annoying shorts on. I never found the tucked in shirt to the shorts comfortable. I always pulled it out. You got this tight ass shirt on, and
because of that gut.
it was not because of the gut. It was just not comfortable.
Bro, you're telling me that having a gut was comfortable.
My
I had
gut,
a gut too.
Bro, my gut was 10 times smaller than the gut I have now.
Really?
You just got quiet. Yes, hell yeah. My gut is way bigger.
You know what? One thing that we have to go back to Nashville, and you know why.
Yeah.
We have to go back. Like on the pilot, like, yes. We seek revenge.
Yeah. We dealt with some pretty fucking nasty people over there that
we met Karen before Karen was a thing.
Oh yeah. We met the Karen. Like before it became a thing on social media. We met the follows you in her car while recording you with her phone and threatening to call the cops, and I'm with the neighborhood watch Karen. Like we met a couple of those over there. But I just reflect on it and I'm like, whatever, man. Like, at the end of the day, it did so much for me as a man, and patience, responsibility, how serious I take my responsibilities, like my bills and all that shit. Like I used to think everything didn't matter, everything was a joke, nothing is real. That was my motto: is nothing is real, everything is permitted. And what I meant by everything is permitted is slacking off, being lazy, doing whatever I wanted. And the Tennessee experience was cathartic. I ended up becoming a new person and not living through responsibilities, but accepting that that's part of life. And you can still do the fun things in life. You can still do things that you find fun and entertaining, but make sure that you take care of the shit you need to take care of first. You know, it's part of adulting. It sucks. No one can ever convince me that paying bills is fun or working. I hate people that are like, I fucking love working. It's like the best thing. Like, I love going to my job. If it's your dream job, I hear you. If it's like a 9 to 5 that you're stuck at because, you know, until you find the next job, I don't fucking believe you. Like, if someone came to your door tomorrow and said, hey, we'll pay you the same amount of paycheck, the same amount of money in a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you get to stay home and do nothing, you would say yes. You would not say no because I love my job. And that's how I know when people are fucking lying about that they love their 9 to 5. Because if their job were to send them home and said, hey, just check in with us once a week on the computer and you get the same pay, they would fucking choose that option. Because if you really love the job, you would say, no, I'm fine where I'm at. But that experience in Tennessee taught me, like, fucking take care of your shit. No one's gonna pick up after you. No one's here to hold your hand. The world is fucking... The world is not here to help you. You need to get shit done on your own, and then you can work on whatever the fuck else you want to work on. If you want to be a YouTuber, a streamer, a stripper, a rapper, whatever the hell you want to be, but you got to take care of your responsibilities first. And that's something that just wasn't clicking with me at first. Until Tennessee.
And another thing too that, you know, I think a lot of people should apply to their life is like smiling through situations, because that also taught me a lot about just smiling through a negative situation. Because if you notice, our apartment was struggling the most. Like, we were the struggle group. Mm-hmm. But we had the most fun. Everyone else looked miserable and lived a miserable life.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, it turned out, you know, as much as everyone else was doing amazing and doing great, like, they were, you know, probably going through it more than us just because they weren't able to smile or be happy at, you know, the little things.
Yeah, it reflected once the job was over. Yeah, Mev?
Well, with that, I would actually like to give credit to you, Ish, because like even though I wasn't able to see you like face to face, like you smelled through it and whatnot, I do remember that time to time you would update me when you were back there, and you never told me about a bad day. Like you always were so like hopeful and optimistic and everything like that. Like I felt so. I give you props for that because I feel like you really did try your best to be positive during that entire time because the story that you guys were telling, I wouldn't have known that even happened because during that time, you didn't even make it seem like it was a problem in any way.
Yeah. No, we definitely did not. Everyone thought we were working in paradise. But that's what you gotta do to like push forward because once you start letting people see the negativity, you now expect it from yourself because it's like, well, this is what I've shown them, so let me continue. It becomes a force of habit. You feel me? You're then like, okay, they expect this from me. Like, let me continue doing this. But when you wake up every day at a fresh start, and you might have a slice of bread with like a little bit of peanut butter and jelly slapped on it with a bottle of water for breakfast, and that's your breakfast, and you don't know what the fuck you're gonna eat for lunch. You still gotta think. Let me be positive today. It can affect my sales. I might meet, my 5 sales that I need to hit today. So that's how I just kept going, I like, how you pointed out that that's the way that I approached it, and I like the way that Franklin explained that. I'm sorry, I completely just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Franklin? Huh?
How'd you do?
I don't know. I said Franklin. I'm sorry, I'm very scatterbrained. Franklin, what did you say before Mev?
It was talking about like remaining positive and keeping a smile.
Oh, that's yeah. I would agree 100%. Like, there's things, there's things I had to deal with moving here to Texas, with a very toxic and just not good roommate, and also a job I was working. I really didn't want to work, but if you saw it from the point of view I was presenting to people, it's like, oh, everything is smooth over there in Texas for him. I mean, everything has been fucking awesome. I've loved it here since day one, but there's things I haven't included on a social platform where people are like, oh, like, that sucks, because I've learned that job taught me that once you project something, even if it's for someone else to see, that projection comes right back at you as a reflection, and you start living through that reflection. You start living in that negativity. So we'd wake up, we'd fucking get each other riled up, like, come on, we're gonna get sales today, let's get this shit done, let's eat our 1 slice of bread, let's head over to the other apartment and hear the lecture and watch these white Mormons dance the party in the USA. And I don't know if you've seen the clip of me sitting down and I'm just like, I look so over this shit. But yeah, that's how we. And then the greatest release was the day that we decided we were gonna get the fuck out of there. We just packed our stuff. We said, let's get the fuck out of here, and we got in the car and we just left. We went home. We had enough. We experienced Tennessee enough. We attempted it enough. We tried our ass off. No one could tell us any different. We tried our ass off. It was a great experience overall, and I feel like that did a lot for my growth. But yeah, I think I can 1:30. Yeah, I think we can close up here. Next podcast, I'm going to be a lot more prepared because I spent the first 20 minutes having difficulties, but I'm going to set it up so that Mev, do you have a laptop or anything that you can call through on video?
I do not.
Alright, so I'm going to try to see how I can get... Alright, I'm going to try to see how I can get... If you can download Skype on your phone, then I can Skype call you and Franklin.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't have to be the next broadcast, but it can be the next one or the one after or in the near future. But yeah, I do appreciate both of you joining me on my first podcast, and I appreciate your opinions. You guys are awesome.
Yay! Thanks.
No problem. But yeah, tune in on what day is it? Is today Monday?
It is, yes, Monday.
Okay. All right. So tune in. I'm gonna go live again tomorrow. So tune in, guys. Tomorrow, I'll go live again at around the same time, and I hope you guys